"Ma'am, I know that missing child," the girl said softly. The words landed heavier than the silence around them. The millionaire woman froze, her fingers still pressed against the cold metal pole where the poster fluttered. 9 years old. Brown hair. Hazel eyes. Her daughter's eyes. She had looked at this face every day for 6 months, pouring money into search teams, private investigators, drones, hopes that always came back empty. She turned slowly. The girl standing there was small, wearing worn jeans and a faded brown shirt, her hair tied back messily. She didn't look afraid. Just tired. "What do you mean?" the woman whispered, though her heart was already pounding as if it knew before her mind did. The girl swallowed. "I used to see her. At night. She was locked in a place near the old water yard. She cried a lot, and talked about her mom. About how her mom never stopped looking." The woman's knees buckled. She grabbed the pole to steady herself, tears blurring the poster she knew by heart. "Why didn't you say something sooner?" she asked, her voice breaking. "Because I was scared," the girl replied. "But today I saw you touching her picture like she was still alive. And I knew, only a mother would look like that." The woman dropped to her knees, sobbing openly now, years of strength shattering in seconds. For the first time, hope hurt more than despair. The girl stepped closer. "She told me something," she added quietly. "She said, if I ever got out, I should tell her mom thank you for not giving up." The woman reached out, clutching the girl's hands, crying harder than she ever had in boardrooms or private jets. Because in that moment, for the first time, the search felt real again. And this time, it felt like it might finally end. "Ma'am, I know that missing child," the girl said. The sentence was quiet, almost fragile, yet it struck like thunder. Celeste froze, her fingertips still resting against the weathered metal pole. The missing poster fluttered slightly in the breeze, the edges curling from months of sun and rain. She had paid to replace it dozens of times, but this one she had put up herself only yesterday, unable to sleep, unable to stay still in her empty mansion. 9 years old. Hazel eyes. A faint scar near the eyebrow. Her daughter. Celeste had stared at that face for 6 months until it haunted her dreams. She had memorized every freckle, every line. She had poured millions into search teams, helicopters, private investigators, thermal drones, offshore accounts that vanished as quickly as hope did. Nothing. Always nothing. She turned slowly, afraid that if she moved too fast, the moment would break. The girl stood a few steps away. She couldn't have been older than 11. Her clothes were worn but clean, her brown shirt faded from too many washes. Her hair was tied into a messy bun, strands escaping around her face. Her eyes were dark and steady, not the eyes of a child trying to get attention. What did you say?" Celeste asked, her voice barely holding together. "I know her," the girl repeated. "The missing child." The world tilted. Celeste felt her knees weaken, her chest tightening as if someone had wrapped a rope around her ribs. She gripped the pole to stay upright. "That's not funny," she whispered, though nothing about the girl's face suggested a joke. "Who told you to say that?" "No one," the girl said quickly. I saw her." Celeste laughed, a broken sound that startled even her. "A lot of people say that," she said. "They call my office. They want money. Or attention." Her eyes burned. "Are you lost, sweetheart? Where's your mother?" The girl hesitated. "I don't really have one." That single sentence carried more weight than Celeste expected. Still, she shook her head, trying to stay rational. "You shouldn't talk about things like this," she said. "It hurts people." "I know," the girl replied. She hurt a lot. Celeste's breath caught. "Who hurt?" she demanded. "The missing girl," the child said softly. "She cried almost every night." The air felt suddenly too thin. Celeste crouched down so they were eye level. "Listen to me very carefully," she said, gripping her purse so tightly her knuckles turned white. "If you're lying, you need to stop right now." The girl didn't flinch. "She talked about you," she said. "She said her mom smelled like lavender and always hummed when she brushed her hair." Celeste's purse slipped from her hand and hit the pavement. She had hummed. Always. The same lullaby her own mother had sung. "How do you know that?" Celeste whispered. The girl looked down at her feet. "Because I was there." Time slowed to a crawl. "Where?" Celeste asked, dread and hope colliding painfully in her chest. "Near the old water yard," the girl said. "The place everyone avoids. The building with the broken fence." Celeste's heart slammed violently. The water yard had been searched early on, then dismissed when nothing turned up. She remembered screaming at her security team for giving up too soon. "Why didn't you tell anyone?" Celeste asked, tears spilling freely now. "I tried," the girl said. "Once. But the man there saw me talking to her. He locked the door after that. I was scared he'd hurt me too." Celeste's legs gave out. She sank to her knees, right there on the sidewalk, no longer caring who saw her. Her perfectly controlled world, boardrooms, contracts, polished smiles, collapsed into sobs that tore from her chest. "I looked for her every day," she cried. "Every single day." "I know," the girl said quietly. She knew too. Celeste looked up sharply. "What do you mean?" "She could hear the helicopters sometimes," the girl explained. "She said they sounded like hope getting close, and then going away." Celeste covered her mouth, choking back a scream. Guilt crashed over her like a wave. All that money. All that power. And still her child had been alone in the dark. "Is she?" Celeste couldn't finish. The girl's eyes filled with tears for the first time. "She's alive," she said. "But she's very tired." That word, alive, lit something inside Celeste that had been dead for months. "She asked me to tell you something," the girl continued. "She said, if I ever saw you again, I should say thank you. For not stopping." Celeste reached out blindly and took the girl's hands. They were small and rough, hands that had known too much for their age. She pressed them to her face, crying harder than she ever had in private jets or silent penthouses. "I'm so sorry," Celeste sobbed. "I should have found her sooner." The girl squeezed her hands. "She believes you will now." Sirens echoed faintly in the distance. Celeste didn't remember dialing her phone, but it was in her hand, shaking as she spoke urgently to her head of security, to the police, to anyone who would listen. When she hung up, she looked back at the girl. "What's your name?" she asked. "Lena." Celeste nodded, committing it to memory. "You're very brave, Lena." Lena shrugged. "I just didn't want her to feel forgotten." Celeste pulled the girl into a gentle embrace, something she hadn't done to a child since the day her daughter vanished. Lena stiffened for a second,